America's Mayor live from Dover, New Hampshire. And here we are almost at the 1-year anniversary of the attempt to assassinate our now president in Butler County, in a situation where to this day, we have virtually no meaningful information about what happened other than a disturbed child about which we know very little, somehow was able to surveil this place where he knew Trump was coming. He was able to get himself on the roof in a position where nobody should ever have been, almost a first rule of security. He had been identified earlier as a suspect, as a person of extreme suspicion. Don't remember if they thought he had. I think they thought he had a gun or a weapon, and that was passed along to the Secret Service. The Secret Service evinced no interest in it, did nothing about it. Their rules require them to not go forward with an event with a presidential candidate or presidential candidate unless they have resolved any suspicions. So if a suspicion presents itself, you hold up the event and you investigate the suspicion and you resolve it as, okay, it means nothing, safe enough to go ahead, or we haven't resolved it, the event canceled. This was if I recall correctly, this was an observation from both citizens and the police of this suspicious gentleman. And I don't know what efforts they made to even find him. But they certainly went ahead with the event about an hour and 15 minutes later, having not located him, even though he was rather prominently walking around looking rather suspicious during most of the time. He then got himself up on a roof where there should have been Secret Service agents by any stretch of the imagination. The first thing that you would have done, I think, as just an ordinary person who are now all attuned to the threats that presidents face, and certainly I would, having been involved in presidential security for 35 years, first thing I would have noticed is the big roof. And I would have looked up on that roof and not seen any Secret Service agents, and I probably would have said something that I used to say back in Brooklyn. I would have lost my temper. What are the Keystone Cops? The president's going to come out in 15 minutes, and we don't have a couple people up there. That's about the only place I can see. I think, I don't remember the whole thing, and if there are others, there should have been agents there. There should have been people, Secret Service, on top of any promontory that allows you a shot at the president. Certainly one, I think there was only one, and it was really close. And there was no one on top of it. Sometimes you have to record when you investigate these things the first answer given. The first answer given by the disgraced head of the Secret Service, who was shortly thereafter fired out under great public pressure, was there was nobody on the roof because it was a thatched roof. Now, I think over the last year, you've seen that roof any number of times, and sure, it's thatched, but any normal ambulatory human being can walk on it. When I heard that, I said there's something seriously wrong with her or the whole thing. I mean, that's a completely asinine excuse. It's a thatched roof. It still is a roof on which you can get on, walk on it, have a perfect shot at the presidential candidate, and if you're half a shot, kill him. And there was a person walking around that was suspicious. There was a perfect place to shoot him, and a warning that there was somebody there that was suspicious. Oh, and by the way, an outstanding threat from the Iranian reign of terror to kill him, for which they had theoretically increased his security. Now, I don't understand what his security might have been like before this, because I would say about this that I cannot find, when I analyze this, and I once had this conversation, interesting, with Dan Bongino, who was a Secret Service agent, and he was a police officer when I was the mayor. I can't find anything they did right. I cannot find a single thing that the Secret Service did correctly in the main things that had to be done here. They never had a meeting beforehand with the police and got it really straight who would have what responsibility and what the chain of command was. Gosh, we would have those meetings in New York City Police with the Secret Service sometimes twice a week if the president were coming twice a week. And we didn't need it because, my goodness, we knew it by heart at that point, because the president comes to New York so often, and the New York City Police Department is so damn good at when they're not protecting him, they're protecting the worst dictators that ever lived that everybody wants to kill. And their skill is equal to, if not superior to, the Secret Service in protecting high risk public officials. Like, it could be Arafat, the one I threw out of the UN, or it could be one of the other, Castro, or somebody that lots of people want to kill, or a right wing. When Bolsonaro is here, I mean, they tried to kill him. They tried to kill him in his own country. Now they're prosecuting. I mean, the president is intervening in his prosecution. People forget they tried to kill him. They shot him in the stomach 4 times. They're communist animals that are running that government. But in any event, this is the anniversary. Shortly thereafter, the incident had more questions than answers. And now we're a year later. None of the questions I just raised have been answered. Not a single one. I still haven't heard a credible explanation for why that roof wasn't covered. I still haven't heard a credible explanation for why there wasn't a meeting. I still have no idea why they let the event go forward with an outstanding, suspicious individual walking around. I haven't seen any real video of the rest of the crowd, like were there any other areas that should have been covered. They don't show it very much. Nobody's done a report on it that explains it to the American people. Don't you think you have an obligation to explain it to us? And finally, we don't know a damn thing about Crooks, who did it. We know he was a disturbed kid who had guns, and that's what we know. We know he had some foreign accounts, but we don't know what's in them or haven't been told. From the outside, it doesn't seem like much of an investigation has been conducted. Certainly not, like for something important like the Nancy Pelosi orchestrated January 6th, where we spent, I don't know, $1 billion so her daughter could produce a movie, and never touched the possible alleged first-degree murder of Ashley Babbitt. Not a single significant person really identified, like the people who were banging the doors down, that the cop really should have shot if he was going to shoot somebody. I mean, I don't get any sense that we're expended great resources on trying to solve what this guy was doing, Crooks. He did have foreign connections. They had foreign accounts or foreign social accounts or whatever. He also either wiped out or had no presence on social media. He's the only kid in America that had no presence on social media, I think. And given the fact that using the social media is so horrible for you, If this guy had never been on the social media, he should have been the most normal guy in America, right? I don't know. I could spend the rest of the day raising questions about this. And, when I started raising questions about this, I had hair. So every time I raised a question about it, I pulled out my hair. And look what happened. And then I don't even want to get into the one that happened after, which is equally seems to have had a very quiet and very uneventful investigation in which nothing of national significance was discovered. So just two guys just decided to get that close and kill Donald Trump. And no one has taken us through it. Look, if I were conducting this investigation, the first thing that would happen is, oh, give me a whiteboard. There'd be a whiteboard, and on the whiteboard would be all the suspects. We'd sit down, Dan and Steve. Let's make believe that Dan and Steve are my detectives. And I'd say, okay, boys, we don't know very much about this, but you tell me. Let's get started. Is there a number one suspect here? Now, what do I mean by suspect? Who has the biggest motive to kill Donald J. Trump? Or you may look at it a second way, have a second list. Who gains the most? Like, you want a classical one. I mean, it comes out of all the novels and whatever. The husband who just took out the $5 million policy on his wife. What do you think? You don't think he's going to be the number one suspect? He better have one hell of an alibi, right? So you got to put down the number one suspect, and then the number two suspect, and then the number three, or the number four. And maybe they're all kind of equal. We can do that in the Kennedy thing, and that's why we're confused, because none of them were really checked out appropriately. Russia had a motive to kill him. Cuba had a motive to kill him. The mafia had a motive to kill him. But who really had the motive and gained the most? Lyndon Johnson. Now, don't get shocked. That's a statement of fact. Lyndon Johnson would never in a million years been president of the United States if John F. Kennedy didn't get killed. He tried. He made a fool out of himself. It was rumored that they were going to drop him from the ticket, and that's why they were there, testing out John Connally, who almost got killed also. And the one guy they never investigated, the Warren Commission and all the others, is Lyndon Johnson. Now, I don't know if Lyndon Johnson did it. I'm good at telling you who the main suspect is, or the main guy with the biggest motive, or the four biggest motives, but that doesn't mean they did it. That means they got to be investigated from top to bottom. In fact, if you're going to end up with a defendant ultimately who isn't one of those top three or four, you better do that, because part of the defense is going to be, hey, did you look at this guy? He had a much bigger motive to kill your guy here than my guy. So I don't know. I would probably put Iran down as number one, largely because they threatened him. I mean, they sort of made themselves a suspect by saying they're going to kill him. They also made themselves a suspect in my mind because they almost tried to kill me twice. So I figured if they wanted to kill me, they really wanted to kill him. Oh, they also wanted to kill Newt Gingrich, and they also wanted to kill Secretary John Bolton. And yeah, I mean, they had a little group that they wanted to kill. But in my case, they actually attempted it, once in Albania and once in Paris. So I
how close? How did they get? Pretty like how bad was it?
Was this in the papers the other day? Because France revealed I don't know if they had a press conference or they leaked it to the press, but they're having a large number of Iranian incidents right now, and they're very worried about an Iranian terrorist incident as a way of paying back for what happened. And then they related the case in 2018 involving me and Madame Rajavi and and Newt, and who was the other? Oh, and Ambassador Richardson. So we were all part of a speaking engagement, and they were arrested on the French-Belgian border 2 days before, and they were in possession of all of the plans of this very intricate event, which may have had as many as 100,000 people, and about 50 significant retired world leaders or professors, and given the way they had it organized, the plans, their thought was that the main targets were Madame Rajavi, Richardson, me, and Newt. Now, it wasn't a big surprise because 3 months earlier, when I was in Albania, another group of Iranians was arrested by Eddie Rama at the border, and they had a similar group of plans for a smaller event at Ashraf 3, where myself and Madame Rajavi were the two targets. Those people were prosecuted and convicted. They all were prosecuted and convicted. Now, you don't know much about this because the left-wing press would never want to tell you this. You might feel sorry for me. They wanted to kill me because I knew the truth about Biden that they have been lying about. That's really the core of it. I mean, I'm the one who brought it out originally, and I'm the one who got the hard drive, not the New York Post. I gave it to the New York Post and pushed them really hard to go with it. Didn't have to push Miranda very hard because Miranda's got as much, if not more, courage than I do. But we had to push the rest of them really hard.
This is Miranda Devine.
Yeah, great reporter. So I would have to put, I'm sorry, I would have to put down as number 2. I'm really sorry to do this. I would have to put down Biden or the committee. The committee is the unknown group that was running America when Doofusbird was in the White House and didn't know who the F he was. Because there's no way this guy was making any of these decisions because he would spill his ice cream. I mean, 2018, 2019, ignored part of the hard drive, which Democrats, Republicans, and the press, including conservatives, uniformly ignore. Conversation, Hunter Biden and his psychiatrist. Is Dad going to run for president? Yeah, it looks that way, says Hunter. Even though he's demented? Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of, everybody just jokes about it. That's okay. You don't need know much anyway. Yeah, he's pretty bad. Oh, yeah, he's really bad. He's a real joke. He's an effing idiot. This is the conversation, pretty much. That was 2018, 2019. That's a year to 2 years before he ran for president. On tape, available to you before you voted for him, but kept from you by the FBI, the Department of Justice, the New York Times, and the 51 spies who lied, including Brennan, who they want to prosecute now for the myriad of lies, obstruction of justice, and attempt, which is pretty close to treason, to take out a lawfully elected president with false evidence. So Biden and that committee, I mean, they tried everything else to take him out, right? They paid millions to have put together a false report of Russian collusion, right? They paid probably a lot more to develop the false story about the Ukrainian quid pro quo that turned out to be Biden and not Trump. They went to great lengths to try to make January 6th look like worse than September 11, when it looks now like it was orchestrated by Madam Pelosi and her daughter and Antifa. And they did everything they could to steal the 2020 election and yell and scream and shame so much that they would destroy anybody that made the claim, that the truthful claim, that it was stolen, including me and many, many others. So I'm still under indictment in 2 places for my false statements about the election, which number one weren't false, they were true, and number two they were made for a client in giving him the benefit of the doubt, which should have no other lawyer has ever been prosecuted for something like that or had their profession taken away from them. So if they would go that far, about a year and a half before the dearly departed Bernie Carrick came to me, and he said to me, and he woke me up to it, he said, Mayor, they've tried everything now, and he's even gaining when they prosecute him. Don't you think they'll try to kill him? I said, oh, Bernie, I don't know. He said, let me just ask you a question, Mayor, because you're the smartest person I know. I'm not, but he said that. And he said, I'm going to ask it to you in a way that you analyze all the time. Are they at a moral level where they could commit murder? I said, oh, yeah, absolutely. They're complete perverts. He said, well, doesn't that give you the answer? There's a reason they want this so bad, they were willing to basically commit treason, perjure themselves, spend millions, bribe, cheat, put people in jail for no reason, or for a reason. But you don't think they'd kill? You don't think they've killed before? Let's go talk to them and tell them to be more careful. We did, about a year before it happened. So, I mean, I don't even have any embarrassment telling you. It used to be that Biden was my number one suspect originally, until I took a good look at the Iranian threat, the continuing threats, and then what they had done to me. And by the way, those plots that I told you against me, there are about 7 or 8 others against other people. I just happen to know the two, as you might imagine, against me the best. Well, the second guy who did it, and I hate to bring it up now because I'm sort of on their side, right? But the second guy who shot at him, I think was in Ukraine shortly before. Now, I'm not going to go to any others, but I'm going to tell you why Ukraine is more than just something you cross out. Ukraine supported Hillary Clinton in the 2016 election. Yes. Their president supported her. Poroshenko, who was Biden's partner in probably multi-millions of dollars in bribery. Who knows what the hell he did with the Clintons. And the ambassador from Ukraine to the United States in Washington formally endorsed Hillary Clinton. And the Clinton Foundation got the most money from the country of Ukraine, which doesn't make any sense because it's not that rich. I mean, not rich at all with all the stolen money. And the world might be very different for Ukraine under a Trump or a Biden. Well, of course, that was really stupid because they got themselves invaded. If they were, I mean, I don't know how they look at it, but at that point, when they attempted to kill Trump, it looked like he might back off them and let Russia and say, "What the heck? We don't care that much about Ukraine." And anyway, we're worried that most of the money we gave him is stolen because the country is totally corrupt. He could also have borne a real anger at them because they could have cleared him completely. Zelensky was in charge of the entire body of evidence that would have shown, well, probably would have been ignored because everything showed that Biden took massive bribes, including his son's confession that was never highlighted to you, even by, what's the dopey guy who runs the committee who can't seem to get anything right? Coomer. Coomer would, if there was a confession that by Hunter, he'd trip over it.
It's Comer Pyle. I don't know if anyone remembers that character.
But he actually tripped over it. I mean, what I'm telling you is there is actually an admission, which is officially under the law of evidence an enormously valuable piece of evidence that he's completely ignored.
Comer Pyle.
It's dated Christmas Day 2018, 2019. I don't think he did it on purpose. I think he did it because it was hard enough for him to handle the television interviews. But I mean, everybody avoided the most important evidence in all of these situations. Like, for example, he never brought out the emails between Hunter and the psychiatrist saying the old man was boop, boop, whoopee in 2019. You talk about a conspiracy to cover up his being inadequate to be president. That's a pretty good time to start it, huh? Well, in any event, we are now going to be a year later, and we're no further along in that investigation than we were on the day that it happened. We have lots of questions. We have no public answers. And I don't have the feeling that they have private answers or that they're ever going to disclose them to us. I don't get the feeling of a very intense, even 10% of what they invested in January 6th. And then if we get to the second one, which is supposed to go to trial, there's got to be an explanation for why that guy was traveling all over the world. Somebody paid for it. I mean, there's so many things to investigate that don't seem to have been investigated. That I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but if I'm not, I'd be really stupid. I used to not be. Now I am. So Russia is throwing us, I think, a curveball, but I don't think it's going to work. Russia at the meeting in Malaysia between the foreign ministers. So this would be a day or two ago. Lavrov told Rubio, we got a whole new way we can solve this war. It's a whole new plan. And Rubio is bringing it back to Trump. Meanwhile, as he was saying it, or shortly before he was saying it, they unleashed their biggest attack of the war and killed incredible numbers of Ukrainians, including a 1-year-old child that was killed by a drone. That now we have to take this and analyze it. We have to just listen to this and absorb it. It's a reality. We don't know for sure. We know for sure they killed a 1-year-old boy. It looks like they targeted him because it was a drone strike. And their drone strikes are very precise. In any event, they killed a 1-year-old boy. Now, they have killed per numbers way more civilians than the Israelis. But nobody's prosecuting them in front of the phony International Court of Justice.
Oh, I don't want to show that.
And that's the reason why communist Zohan Ramadan wants to keep Bibi and the Israelis out of New York. A totally fictitious court that we don't belong to, has no jurisdiction over us, and is crooked as hell. Their main prosecutor is Clooney's wife. It takes her, 3 hours to make up for a court appearance, and then go through the scripts. She got to work them out with George, who did or did not double cross Biden. Right? We don't know, or he did or did not just double cross Prince Obama, and all three of them deserve each other. So the bomb also was dropped near Odessa. So they are hitting all over. It always surprised me that they didn't go from Kherson to Odessa, because if they could get Odessa, they could cut Ukraine off from the sea. With this hit in Pravdine, it looks like they may be trying to do that. And it really is time we stop them. We've given them enough strength, and they've hung themselves. And the fact that every time he talks to the president, he's nice and sweet, and then he keeps upping the attacks. This was the worst attack of the whole war. Now this year alone, one of our diplomats estimates that the Russians lost 100,000 people, 100,000 soldiers. Now, some of those were North Koreans also. I think every North Korean is dead because they didn't even know where they were. They were shooting Russians. It's time for the president to no more Mr. Nice Guy with Putin. Putin doesn't respect nice guys. He walks all over them. Look at what he did to Obama and Biden. It's time to tell your good friend and my good friend, Lindsey Graham, pass the damn bill. You got 83 senators. That'll pass the House with that kind of vote. It would put every sanction known to man on Russia. Would they escape a few? Yeah. Would they go bankrupt in the process? You're damn right they would if they're not there yet. Would their stores be without food for a while? Yeah. Last time they were out of food, they overthrew the Soviet Union. Russians don't like to be without food. And who says they're in love with Putin? He brought them into a war they never had to go into. There's no reason for them to attack Ukraine. Ukraine wasn't attacking them. He wants to create a Russian empire. I don't know. Do the Russian people want a Russian empire? You really think that the average Russian wants to die to take over Ukraine? That doesn't threaten them at all. Their pride was hurt because they lost Ukraine. All they ever did is torture the people of Ukraine. I mean, Stalin had a whole program to starve them all. It's not their pride, it's his. The Russian people aren't sick, he is. The Russian people aren't stone cold killers who've killed incalculable numbers of people, both personally and by order. It's him, Putin. And I'm tired of, I look in his eyes and I looked in his eyes real quick on 9/11. I saw a stone cold killer. I saw like one of the mafia hitmen that I handled. No reaction at all to the emotion of all those people dead. Very, very controlled reaction. Very controlled reaction to everything, including the time I sat and talked to him. Very charming, smart as hell, and a killer. If you know his background, it fits right in with what he is today. And if anything, as he got older, he's become more maniacal and more vicious. Do you have to negotiate with him? I'm fully in favor of that. You have to. I don't think he's irrational. I think you could take the three of them and you have to make this distinction. He's not irrational. We still can negotiate with him. Z is not irrational. We can negotiate with him. Ayatollah, it's over. No point in negotiating with him. We're just negotiating against ourselves. So that's got to be our way of going forward. Hit him with sanctions. Give Zelensky everything that he needs to pound Russia back. He's not going to do shit. He's a big bully. Not going to come against us. They're nothing compared to us. Nothing. Never have been. We will be back very shortly. U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal, 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month,
Wow.
including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax,
Wow.
channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly,
Wow.
where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY. Act fast. These deals are selling out.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're gonna go into the roaster and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee. Well, I think it is very disturbing. Oh, just in case, this is Rudy Giuliani. This is America's Mayor Live. It's the show that you like best.
We're live.
Because we really are live. And we really tell you the truth.
You might be watching tape.
We even show you things nobody else shows you. Here. Here you go. Let's look at this one. Remember I told you? Admission, coma. That's, what I'm showing you right now would be Exhibit 35 in the RICO trial against the Biden and other crime families. And it would lay out the RICO conspiracy and the reimbursement method for it. I love you. This is from Hunter Biden to his daughter. I believe the date is Christmas Day of 2018. And it says, I love all of you, but I don't receive any respect. And that's fine, I guess. Works for you, apparently, meaning his daughter. I hope you all can do what I did, which means take care of being the middleman for the money and pay for everything for this entire family for 30 years. It's really hard, but don't worry. Unlike Pop, I won't make you give me half your salary. Now, you would say he could be lying. He could be exaggerating. I mean, so could Sammy the Bull when he said that John Gotti did 17 murders. That's what any witness could be lying. Any witness could be exaggerating. Any person that writes down an admission could do that. But here's what I can tell you. 1,000%, I don't care who the judge is, that gets in evidence. And it has a name because it's hearsay. See, you can't, it's hearsay. Someday I'll give you, well, I'm not allowed to probably teach law either, but hearsay is when you have a statement and you have no one to cross-examine about the statement. So we can't cross-examine him, but we have a statement. Now, there are about 40 to 50 exceptions to this hearsay rule. It's often said there are more exceptions than there is rule. One of the exceptions is if, and it's a generic kind of thing, if you make a statement against your interests, if you make a statement that's going to hurt yourself, if you make a statement in the nature of your confession of being involved in something sneaky, or that will be allowed in because it has an indicia of reliability that overcomes the need to cross-examine. I mean, these rules are like 400 years old. That is a classic admission. And in a conspiracy case, it comes in. And if you have a good judge, meaning a fair one, he'll give you a charge about that. You know what he'll say? That's the most powerful form of evidence. Because unlike a confession, where he could have said the same thing in a confession, he might have been pressured into that. Here, he's just volunteering it. Nobody told him to say that. Nobody pressured him to say it. Is he lying to his daughter? Anybody can be lying. But is it less likely that he's lying under these circumstances than with the cops right on him? Yes. So this comes in, and the judge would say, if he wanted to, and it would be affirmed, that this is a very powerful piece of evidence. It also, in a RICO case, is very powerful because you rarely get a really good description of how the money flows. He just told you how the money flows. For 30 years, unlike Pop, I won't make you give me half your salary. Now, people would say, always, anybody, why did they give Hunter Biden $10 million? Why did China give Hunter Biden $1 billion commitment to his ridiculous financial fund that had all kinds of strange people involved in it, including Bolger's nephew? And why did Ukraine give him $10 million? Why did Russia give him $3.5 million? He didn't do anything. We know why they did it, right? They did it because his father was the senator, the vice president, and then the president. They did it to get something specific or to get something general. In the case of Ukraine, Zlochevsky, the guy that was charged, wanted to be able to keep his $40 billion crooked business. So he paid off Biden and he paid off Poroshenko. All of that is completely provable, even with recordings, if Zelensky were an honest man, or Zelensky were an honest man, because he has the tapes. And you wonder why Trump has a little problem with him, right? But here, he's telling you that. He gave half of his, he did give half of his salary to his father for 30 years. And his salary was somewhere easily calculated at 50 to 60 million. And it came from countries that wanted something from the U.S., and a lot of it came from countries that were bitter enemies of the United States, which gets them close to the category of traitor. Now, you want to know, what did China get back for the 20 to 30 million they gave him? How about America abandoning the Bagram Air Base 400 miles from China? Would anybody but a person who was bribed give up an air base 40 miles from China? Now, why is this never shown to you? You see what I can do with this if you get me in front of a jury with this? This is why they wanted to destroy me. Nobody else brought this out but me. Nobody else emphasizes this but me. Or the conversation between Hunter and his psychiatrist 1 year before Joe Biden ran for office, that Joe Biden was demented. I don't know. I just have this desire to save my country from evil people. I felt so bad when Biden was elected because I knew, I'm going to tell you the truth, I didn't know he'd be that bad, but I knew he'd be very bad. No, I could not have predicted how uniformly terrible he was and how many people he would get killed. So both Bibi Netanyahu and some outside groups now say that Iran still has a nuclear stockpile. Well, actually, Russia says it, and Bibi says it, and then the outside groups. And Putin has said that he's willing to supplement it with whatever they need to make it, to activate it. Well, I mean, that's Putin pushing you to the point where it's time to smash his mouth apart, right? It's time to give him a lot of pain that he can't handle. He wants to get involved in Iran too, and allow the maniac Ayatollah to have nuclear weapons. I don't know. You know, the Ayatollah could turn on him. He's an infidel. He's an infill that's working with him right now. But you don't think when the Ayatollah takes over, Putin doesn't get killed for either one of two reasons, for being a Russian Orthodox or being communist? Oh, yeah, he's gone. He's just playing him right now. So the president has to have a program of waking Putin up to how tough he is. The sanctions would go a long way. And believe it or not, there'd be one other thing. You see that report? Take out wherever you think the nuclear material is. Just go right in and bomb it. Don't tell them. Don't tell them that peace is been breached. You don't have to warn somebody when they breach a contract that you're going to take action to defend yourself. If they're hiding away nuclear material, they breached the damn agreement between us. There's no good faith in the agreement. And see if between Mossad, U.S. intelligence, and whatever we have on the ground there, and I know we do, Iranians on the ground there, they don't have a pretty good idea where that is. I bet they do. In fact, I'm almost certain they do. It'd be easier to get that than it was to get all the way down into Fordo. And while you're at it, why are we resisting regime change? This is like formulaic. You're either an isolationist or an interventionist. Well, if you are a complete isolationist or a complete interventionist, you're a fool. That should be determined based on the circumstances. If you're going to protect a country, there are times where it's completely ridiculous to intervene. There are times when it's marginal to intervene. And there are times when it is absolutely necessary to take action. And in case of Iran, we're not fighting the battle for anybody else but ourselves. Yeah, sure, he wants to destroy Israel, but he hasn't done enough damage to us. When the prime minister of Iran said to Tucker Carlson, well, Iranians never killed any Americans. I do not understand for the life of me how Tucker Carlson sat there looking like this. Not even a movement of his face. Could we start with the Marines that were killed in Lebanon by them, or all of the soldiers that were killed in Iraq by them? I mean, that's why we assassinated Soleimani. But Soleimani didn't do it by himself. Soleimani ordered the Quds Force and the IRGC to do it. And Soleimani was ordered to do it by the guy we're refusing to take out, as if we're afraid to. Something worse might come along. Please tell me what that would be. What could be worse? It could only be the same or better. What is he going to do? Give more money? The new one's going to give more money to terrorist groups? They're the biggest sponsor of terrorism. They've been financed by the Democrat Party for the last 10 years. They kill their own people whenever they want to. What is he going to do, kill more of his own people? What's this new group going to do that might take over for him? Or is there a chance that the people will take over? Now, people I trust there tell me there's a good chance they will. And it is true, we have at times changed, and Egypt was a situation where we changed, we got worse, and then Sisi came in and got rid of the Muslim Brotherhood, which, by the way, is Hamas. Which is why Sisi will not take any Palestinians in Egypt. So whatever happens there cannot be, I'm sorry, it cannot be worse than the situation that we have now. And the logical possibilities are that it will be better, and that the country is in such a such a turmoil right now that it would be a regime-changing blow. And I do have great confidence in the MEK and Madame Rajavi. I know there's a lot of dispute about that, but nobody knows them as well as I do, and some of my colleagues, Democrat and Republican, who have worked with them for 9 or 10 years, 12 years. There's a very serious group of people. They have been a major, major assistance to the effort to keeping Iran non-nuclear. They are the original people to have found the nuclear sites. And believe me, if the Mossad could speak freely, and they never do, they would tell you that they get a great deal of credit for the Mossad's intelligence. And not only do they help them with it, but they help integrate the Mossad into the Iranian society. So you don't know that they're Mossad. And that's how they wiped out, just recently, 17 nuclear scientists, over the years, maybe 50. I mean, I would not give insurance to a nuclear scientist. I wouldn't give life insurance to a nuclear scientist in Iran with the Mossad and the MEK around. And I would bet they know where the material is. This is not a betting situation, Ted, right? It would be a sacrilege to bet. But what do you think? You think maybe they know exactly where it is?
Yeah, I have a feeling.
The pilot who put in those bombs basically hit a Coke bottle with a 30,000-pound bomb 12 times. Now, I don't know what they got left of Fordo, but they got much left. and even if it takes them 2 to 3 years to build up, that's $2 to $3 trillion they don't have. You don't do this for nothing. I'm sorry. Russia may want to give them nuclear material. That may be the very time we attack Russia. Oh, sorry, I didn't say that. Yeah, go ahead, Russia. You just lost 100,000 people this year in Ukraine. You're using up your missiles, and you're like crazy. And now you're going to go help Iran. Maybe China should invade and just take you over. They'd really like to, you know. You know the Chinese hate you, Putin, right? You know that. They've hated you forever. It's in the blood. It's like the Hatfields and the McCoys in the Ozarks. The Chinese, the Russians, and the Japanese. Whoa! Makes the Hatfield and the McCoys look like happy cousins. I think they were cousins too. Okay, we can't leave the weekend because we're gonna get you over to Dr. Maria because she has a very special guest tonight, me, and I want you to see the interview. She did it here earlier, and I sat over there. I sat right there. You can see what I look like sitting there. I look awful. Yeah, see that? You see them right here? That looks like a confessional over there. We should have Father Allen there, hearing confessions.
We got to get him down here.
We put up a little screen. Father, forgive me for I have sinned. I haven't been to confession in 45 years. That's not true, but pretty close. So let's just make a little summary on Comrade Mamdani. Comrade Mamdani, who is I would have to say the leading candidate for mayor of New York City right now, against a field of Adams, Curtis Sliwa, still Cuomo, and then somebody else I don't know, Wooland, somebody I don't know.
There's a few, yeah.
But I think he's a 1-pointer or a 2-pointer. And the order right now is number one is Mamdani, the communist. Number 2 is Cuomo, the guy who doesn't like old people. Number 3 is Curtis Sliwa from the Guardian Angels. And number 4 is the incumbent mayor, who appears to be under further investigation. Woo! So the leading candidate is in favor of arresting Bibi Netanyahu as a world criminal. And for some reason, he wants to get Narendra Modi. I don't know what the charges are other than he's an ally of the United States. I mean, it could be that I would, hopefully sometime this summer, we'll see Giorgia Meloni, the prime minister of Italy. And I can't imagine he wouldn't want to arrest her. She's just too friendly to the United States. Meanwhile, he has all these people come and speak who hate America. So I think maybe the basis for the arrest is you're an ally of the capitalist, horrible, dictatorial United States. And therefore you're going to get arrested. Now, here's the thing that's amazing. That's an act of secession. He has no basis on which to arrest Modi or Mondami because they committed international crimes. We're not part of the International Court of Justice, halfwit, nor is your city. You just don't arrest people, nitwit. You have to have jurisdiction and a basis for it. And here you would be interfering with one of the strongest allies of the United States, be like an act of secession. That wouldn't be the first time the Democratic Party seceded, but they're getting close to it now. With the refusing, I mean, I always considered the Uber sanctuary laws to be an act of secession. We're not going to cooperate with federal law. Well, there are states' rights, but that's not a state right. It's a state's right to handle the things that haven't been given to the federal government, and the states have to handle it. Well, like education. There they got a good argument the federal government shouldn't be involved. But not foreign policy. The whole purpose of putting together, even under the Articles of Confederation, they couldn't interfere in foreign policy. That's before the Constitution. This gives you an example of just what a communist he is. And it gives you an example of how stupid he is. I think what I just said to you, he wouldn't even understand. He'd go make one of those stupid things that he does. And they say he's a good candidate. He's a good candidate because he's a colorful jackass. And what does that say about the people who think he's a good candidate? That they like colorful jackasses. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe if Erdogan comes to New York, you should arrest him. He's an occupying colonist. He's occupying and subjecting the Kurdish people he's the oppressor, and the Kurdish people are the oppressed. But then again, he leans really very much toward the other thing that you seem to be very, very enamored with, and that's Islamic extremist haters of the United States, including 9/11 people that you invited to Boat Wayne who believe the United States caused 9/11. And as this article, I don't know why I should go any further. The article concludes that he's economically illiterate. Well, they're all illiterate. He learned African studies. That's his degree, is in African studies. I bet he knows the biggest elephant. Meanwhile, on the other side, they're beginning to develop a war chest against him. I'm included in this article. I will make no comment on it, other than to tell you the real thing here is the war chest is important. The most important thing is to figure out who's got the best chance, and it's going to be really hard to beat them if you don't consolidate. If you don't consolidate. And I find it very hard to believe find it hard. Well, you want me to share my current thinking with you now that it's a Friday and we always like to predict elections on a Friday? So I've been through this over and over again, and I've talked to a lot of people about it, and I'm not going to tell you who. And I believe that it's my obligation, after having spent so much time trying to save the city, to make the right choice here and to try to help that person to win, to save my city from the worst possible outcome it could ever have that Karl Marx was dreaming about 170 years ago. And that is to make us a communist city as a step toward making us a communist country. Now, you may think I'm crazy. I'm not. I'm explaining to you exactly why we are where we are. It brings all the pieces together, all the crazy stuff with men going into women's rooms with 57 genders. 57 genders, my backside. There are two. God made them, man and woman, he made them. The first chapter of Genesis and the first chapter of any biology book you ever read. There's one thing religion and science agree on. This isn't science. This is Marxist fiction intended to collapse civilization so they can take over. Well, the other candidate is former Assistant U.S. Attorney Jim Walden. Cuomo, Walden, Adams, and Curtis Sliwa. And I believe that we must make a very good faith attempt to figure out who's got the best chance and, as much as possible, put all the money behind them. If they run, it depends on who. Cuomo and Adams both running will hurt each other. Cuomo, Adams, and Sliwa could be, and the communist, could bring the vote down where a Republican's 30 to 35% starts to become competitive. So there are many different analyses here. I'm giving you a preliminary one. Probably when I do my final one, I might not give it to you. I might just give it to the person I give it to. I don't know. Or it may not matter because the analysis may be obvious and you just have to get there. Like the analysis on how Trump should win was obvious. Everybody knew it, even the Democrats. He just had to get there. Sometimes you don't have to be a genius to figure out how somebody has to win. You just have to get there. That's where the money and the organization are important. The human child trafficking is something we should devote a podcast to, Ted, like we did a long time ago. And maybe we'll bring back some of the people.
We should.
It's become, between 2019 and Biden took it to an absolutely new level since the time we did that. And Dr. Maria could probably do that with us because she keeps following it and she does it on her show quite a bit. But from 2019 to 2023, there were 448,000 unaccompanied minors who were detained at the border and registered. Now, an incalculable number came in and we never saw them in those big gaps that I always talk about in between. But these are the people we saw. They were led into the United States. They were sent to somebody. Many of the people they were sent to don't exist. Some of them turn out to be dance halls, strip clubs, fictitious names. At least 300,000 of these children are missing. And there's no question that the largest percentage of them are involved in sex, unbelievably oppressive labor, and other forms of perversity, and also being part of criminal organizations, distribution of drugs, transport of guns, and because children can get away with it easier. It has made America the single biggest country for human trafficking, which we never were. We were a country that had respect for human life and children. And Biden ruined that, and the communists ruined it. And they are doing everything they can, aren't they, to obstruct Trump trying to fix that. That's what he's trying to fix in rounding up the people who are the illegals. He's trying to fix the destruction of the United States. If you go now to Dr. Maria's show, which I'm going to invite you to do, you will see why I think Brennan can be convicted, and Comey, and why they should be convicted. And you'll hear my analysis of Butler County. So you don't have to watch me here, you can watch me there. And she does a better job of questioning me than I do all by myself. So I'm going to ask you now to go over to Lindell TV for the Dr. Maria show. I'm going to ask you to stay tuned this weekend, because we might come on and give you a hard time if something bad happens, or something good, I hope. Oh, I'd love to come on with something good. And I'm going to ask you right now to remember. You remember who to pray for, right? We're going to pray for people in Russia. Because they're under a damn dictator. We're going to pray for the people of China too. We're going to add them to our prayers. We got a weekend. We can do a lot of prayers. We of course are going to have the people of Israel and of Ukraine and of Iran, the people of the United States. And on the anniversary of the day that God spared them for us, which is Monday, we're going to prepare by praying to God to give him the wisdom that he needs to get us through all this. And we're going to thank God for sparing him and sparing our country. And we're going to say, God bless America.
It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze. We are able to apply our God